I am Derek G. I will be your host with the most, and welcome to another DHG Industries stream. Um, I decided that I was going to play my solo character today since Jack is at his D&D game. Um, and get him leveled up a little bit more, because he's currently, I believe, level 5? Hold on. Level 6. Um, yes, his name is Dom. Anyway, I decided that I wanted to work on my solo character, since, like I said, Jack's not going to be here, and also give you guys a sense of what it's like to play when you're by yourself. It can be a little lonely if you are one of those super sociable people. I happen to not be a super sociable person, despite the fact that I do my YouTube videos and have friends. I'm an what they call it, I'm not a total introvert, basically. So I will be continuing to talk for a little while I explain some things and some things that have irritated me lately with the gaming community, and their reaction when this game was both announced, and their reaction, their overreaction later, and all the spec and that all that all of the thinking they might do this without actually having done it yet. Basically, pointing a finger and saying you're guilty before they've even done anything. So, let's start at the beginning. When Fallout 76 was announced at E3, everybody who had a friend that they had turned on to Fallout, and wished they could play with them, including me and Jack, were super excited and hyped to see it come out and have a chance to really experience the Fallout world and everything with their friends. Maybe even make some new ones who also liked the genre and game, the Fallout franchise. I watched a lot of the coverage. I saw that a lot of people were panicking, especially the people who were holding Bethesda up on a pedestal as the last bastion of single player games, despite the fact that they had released Elder Scrolls. Besides the fact that Bethesda had made Elder Scrolls Online, people, I guess, just maybe because they're part of the Fallout franchise, not part of other franchises under Bethesda, that I don't know exactly. I'm guessing. And people seem to forget that the handling of Elder Scrolls Online wasn't that fantastic either, and that the game had a lot of issues that were resolved over the year that after its release. And a lot of people really like Elder Scrolls Online, and a lot of people have picked it up since then and have really loved it. So the reason I'm going into detail about history about other franchises and other games as I'm explaining this is because of reactionary crap. And it's reactionary crap, and also the history of the company that people seem to gloss over or don't even fucking talk about when they talk about what's going on with this game and how botched the release was and everything. People seem to forget that the gaming industry is very incestuous, okay? Everybody's worked for everybody else or has had experiences with other things and have moved on to other projects or other studios, blah 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 blah. There's so few programmers and stuff, people who want to put up with all the stress and anxiety and everything, that a lot of these people are type A personalities. Okay, but that's not where I'm going with this, but it was just, I had to get that out there. The game is playable, obviously. I'm playing it right now. The game is playable. There are workarounds for certain things that do go wrong, that make it either less than pleasant to play or unplayable when the glitches happen. It usually just means you have to completely exit the game if it hasn't already foobarred already, and then come back in. Not a big deal. Actually, it's so not a big deal that if you're playing with people you can actually trust not to wait for you to come back, okay, you don't even miss out on anything. Jack and I have repeatedly, since launch, even in the beta, for crying out loud, have been playing together and have had various issues. The worst day that we had was the day that I was trying to complete a quest where I had to go and find these hold on. Okay. Sorry, lost track. We were trying. I had to go to these transponders. I had to go and hit each transponder in order to find out where to go next. Well, I had done that, and we were inside this place called Glassy Cavern, and I blue screened. I told Jack to, since we were already inside, we had fought like hell, okay, to get in there. I told Jack to continue on and hit the quest on his end, and then he could help me finish it on my end. So that's what we were doing when I started having trouble. So I blue screened that day, and that I actually went to bed because I was at the end of our playing session that day, and and then we were having such a struggle just getting there that I made the executive decision to put off doing the quest again for a while, just until our characters were a little bit more beefed up. We weren't going to be, using so much freaking ammunition to kill people and all that. So we waited for a little while, of course, and then from there, hold on, I gotta. So we go back to doing that, and we do all the transponders, and we get to this camp where where there's a major Brotherhood of Steel rocket turret, and we were fighting, and suddenly blue screen again. And I'm like, God damn it, frustrating, but not like rage, And then it happens again, but a little bit further on, and then it happens again. I frickin' blue screened like I think 4 or 5 times that day, and it got so frustrating and so bad with it that I wanted to throw my controller. I don't get what I call gamer rage, typically. But I really, really had it that day. And so I quit. Well, I didn't quit. We kept trying, and then I got on to the internet. and found out that this is a known issue. Thank goodness for the internet, right? And how to get around it. So I used that tactic and everything was fine. Well, there are other issues that have happened over the course of playing the game the past month. But it is not completely unplayable. It depends on your patience level and what you like from a game. It's completely personal opinion. So, I really like the building, the exploring, you know,
It's dangerous to go
all that
in
stuff.
Groups. It's just dangerous out there. So stock up here.
Pardon me. So, I'm not going to give up playing the game because of it. Though a lot of people have given up playing the game for at least a little while. And that frustrates me because it shows, well, like I said, personal preference, yeah, but it also shows a lack of patience in the community for gaming that I have never seen in my life. I'm 38 years old, okay? I've been playing games casually and now as a more hardcore gamer since PC text only titles. And they've always had flaws, they've always had problems, there's always been launch weirdness, there's always been, you know, the things that we're seeing now. The only reason it seems like it's worse now is a combination of the internet and the way people's attitudes have changed as a society. As a society in general, people are much less patient, much less kind, and generally are more, what about me? You know, what have you done for me lately? And that's reflected in the way that corporate culture has evolved, and other issues. Come back here, you bastard. Oh, hey, there we go. I don't like the delayed reaction there. There's a slight lag to the server going on. So they, even though they should be dead, they're getting a shot off even after I've killed them. Oh, come on, where is that? There we are. Oh, cool. Fire axe is always good. I forgot to make ammo while I was at the station. Well, I can't make ammo at the station. There's no Tinker's Bench there. And I don't have a camp right now. Anyway, with this character. But I can go and look around Sutton. Anyway, okay. So, as culture has changed, as attitudes have changed, it's been, you know, changing corporate culture and corporate response to how things have done. Now, I'm not saying that Bethesda hasn't mishandled a lot of the situation. They have, but I'm calling for a little bit of patience and understanding, and recognizing that we can't treat them like a person. Yes, Todd Howard and Pete Hines are connected to the community, and yes, they are more interactive, I should say, with the gaming community than a lot of other publishers are. But not only can we not hold them responsible, but for what the company decides to handle how the company decides to handle things, but we shouldn't get so butthurt like they are our girlfriend who lied and betrayed us, because they're a fucking corporate entity. And even then, Bethesda Game Studios, Bethesda Softworks are not all on their own. They have a parent company, ZeniMax. So Todd, even though he is the leader of his branch of Bethesda, of the company, he does not ultimately get to control what he does and how he does it. If he makes a decision that reflects poorly or doesn't sell well or whatever, he gets his ass handed to him by by his boss, and then his boss gets yelled at by ZeniMax. See where I'm going with this? So yeah, it's fucked up that the launch was skewed, but you have to take that in context. Okay, launches in other companies, like I said, it's the gaming world is very ancestral when it comes to things, because we're actually a fairly small community when you think about it, and you think about it in context with the Vatican, for example. Not calling gaming a religion, not going there. It was just the first thing that popped in my head. That was a good example of millions of people that aren't gamers or are gamers, and that whatever. You guys are hopefully running with what I'm going and seeing the connections. Anyway, so I forgot where I was going with that. Damn it. This is what happens when I think on gaming. But yeah, like Dead Island. I don't know how long it's been for you guys that you guys have such a short memory about launches and horrible launches. But Dead Island had a horrible launch. All sorts of problems. Including the bust of that dog, the girl in the bikini that was supposed to come with the collector's edition that got replaced without letting anybody know at first, all that stuff. Things that have happened, like Bethesda's, they're calling it the canvas bag controversy, but you know what? It's the same thing that happened with the bikini bust girl, okay? Something happened either through manufacturing to try to save money, or some corporate talking head made a decision that it was going to be substituted with something that was supposed to be just like, but ended up looking like a really bad, cheap knockoff. And so Bethesda got rigged over the coals, and admittedly, people have said, the only reason they're doing it is because of the lawsuit. No. They're doing it because enough people said, hey, this is not okay, and Pete Hines and Todd Howard and everybody else that is on the hook for this game, corporate-wise, said, you know what, they're right. Because I'm telling you guys, even if you guys had come up with a lawsuit reason to sue, ZeniMax has more than enough money to tell you guys fuck yourselves. Okay? They do. Nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to admit to the fact that they didn't have to make it right. They chose to make it right. Because there was plenty of people that were really upset with the fact that I think the bikini girl bust was replaced with a hand towel. And as far as I know, nobody sued them over it for false advertising and anti-consumer business practices is what I'm remembering people are talking about right now with it. Hell, nobody even sued them for sexual harassment or, you know, whatever the fuck that you can make up for that. Because the reason why they pulled the bust was because the feminists, you know, got all up in arms about the fact that it was, you know, selling female sexuality or some shit like that. Yeah, and I'm sure every woman on the planet goes to see Zac Efron and The Rock just because they're really, really good actors, right? Fucking ridiculous. Anyway, getting off topic. It's just, y'all need to stop putting companies, people, celebrities, whether it's Todd Howard, who's just like an industry guru, or a celebrity like The Rock. You need to stop putting them on pedestals. They're people. They have obligations. In Todd's example, he is a businessman. He did not get to be head of Bethesda Softworks or Bethesda Game Studios, I can't remember which is which, by being a nice guy. You don't get that high in the business world by being nice. Okay? Personal experience here. I got passed up for promotion 4 times. But the people that bitched the most, the people that pretended like they were rock stars and were assholes to everybody else, were the ones that got promoted above me. You do not get as far as he's gotten by being a nice person. Okay? So it's like, you guys need to be more rational, be more logical, and keep everything in the context, man. Context is a huge thing, and I know people are like, you know, well, fuck your context, blah, 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 blah. But it's true. Back in the day when PCs were so expensive that most people didn't even fucking have them in their homes. I'm talking about back with the Commodore 64 and the Atari, okay? Games were massively flawed. Alright, and it continues that way because of consumer demand and corporate pressure, basically. They have to work, they have to fight, they have to go as fast as possible, as flawlessly as they can. Okay, they usually have margins of error or whatever that they're allowed to use, and everything. So, and depending on the business. And the consumer demand hasn't gone down. So the corporate pressure has gone up. And then you factor into account that the gaming community and the gaming market cannot handle pricing the games at the price that they would actually need to be in order to actually be financially viable. And it's massively dirty. Okay? Guys, games should have been $100 a game years ago. Okay, $100 base price. I'm not talking about with the DLC and all that stuff, okay? Base price per game should be at least $100. And they haven't been doing that because the gaming community won't put up with it. Okay? So you get people, and I'm not gonna name names. I'm not gonna put anybody on the spot because it's a general problem. It's not just one media outlet. It's not just one person that doesn't understand this. It's a pervasive problem all over the place. Y'all have to stop reviewing right away. Y'all have to stop comparing things to other things, unless it's within the context of like I said, you know, pointing out that Dead Island had just about as bad of a botched launch as Fallout 76 has had, but less of a reaction community-wise, because it didn't have a community at the time. You just gotta be more patient, and only rake people over the coals for actually doing something. I don't know how many times I've gotten pissed lately because people, YouTube people, gaming media people, not just YouTubers, but gaming media in general, will start speculation about something because they get this tiny grain of information, and they roll with it just to get clicks, just to get noticed, just to be right there at the front of the news, right? And this is a problem. This is a problem because y'all aren't investigating. You're taking grains of stuff from other people. In the latest case, a data mine from Reddit, admittedly from a supposedly trusted person in the community. Okay, I don't know this person. I don't know Reddit much at all. And you just speculate to the point where people actually think it's the complete truth and not just a maybe. People don't pay attention to could, should, might. They think, people think in patterns and actualities. And so you guys do this to make your money, to get your name out there, to build your reputation, whatever it is that you're doing it for. And it causes more strife against the developers, against the companies, against each other in the community, and it causes a lot of stress that doesn't need to be there. It drives me crazy. I used the example to Jack. I think it was yesterday, where it reminds me of the Tom Cruise movie Minority Report. For those of you who have not seen Minority Report, the basic gist of the movie is that Tom Cruise character was a cop, and in this, it's set in the future. In this movie, the cops use psychics, people that can predict the future, to arrest people before they commit the crime. So basically, you're guilty no matter what. You can't prove your innocence. You can't use a situation or anything like that as your excuse or reason that you did what you did. So you instantly get sentenced before you've even done anything. Okay, and supposedly this was really awesome. Cut crime down. All this other stuff, until Tom Cruise's character gets accused of murdering, I think it was his wife or something, or a suspect, I can't remember which. And then everybody finds out that the precogs, I think is what they call them, because precognition is the actual psychic term for seeing the future. They find out that the precogs had been corrupted. They had been compromised, and he was being accused of something that he wouldn't actually do. That they had either seen just a glimpse and didn't see the complete picture afterwards, or they had been bribed or threatened or whatever. I can't remember the exact ending. I just remember that Tom Cruise's character was actually innocent, and he finds out that this has been happening for a while, and that it wasn't a good way to do things. Anyway, in America, we have, guilty until proven innocent. So, I know a lot of you guys are arguing that the fact that they changed when it comes to the lunchboxes, which was the latest Bethesda thing, that just by changing the ending for the file name or whatever, that proves that their intentions are this or that. And I'm going to tell you it's not. Because, just like a lot of other things, when it comes to math, which is what programming is, game programming is basically massive abstract strings of math. You use formulas to make the animations and have them timed right and all this other stuff. This is why I didn't get into programming games, even though I understand the concept, is because I'm horrible at math. I have some kind of weird numbers dyslexia. So if I were to try to do it, nothing would work, and I'd get frustrated and ultimately yell. Anyway, so so you take any part of a formula that was originally in there, and I'm telling you, if they put that shit in there, since the beta, which the data miner says that it's been in there since then, then yeah, the corporate heads, not necessarily Todd and their teams, but ZeniMax and their bosses probably did plan on a few different things that they had pre-approved for them to put in there to make money, okay? Because that's ultimately what a corporation's job is to do. Yeah, provide entertainment, yeah, try to do customer service, but ultimately, if you go and you take an economics and a business class, ultimately your job is to make your business money. Whether you own the business or whether or not you're just working for somebody else, your job is to make money. If you stop making money, if you stop bringing in profits, then you might lose your business, you might lose your job, and it just doesn't, none of it's good. None of it's good. So, there's this YouTuber, I don't remember his name, so please forgive me if you are him or you know who I'm talking about, because I'm going to talk about what you've talked about in your video. It's the one, other than Maddie, who everybody's calling a Bethesda shrill or whatever, and not to trust him because, you know, the non-polite people say he's, you know, sucking their cock or whatever. Anyway, I like Maddie. I think he's rational, and I think his arguments with people are right on the money. That they need to be patient and kind and stuff that I'm advocating for, obviously. But the guy said basically that Fallout 76 was probably sold as a way to make money so that Todd Howard and his team could get the manpower that they needed to make Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield the most epic freaking things ever. He needed more people, he needed more manpower, so he decided to pitch Fallout 76 as a way for the corporation to continuously make a little bit of cash flow, so that they could afford to buy the studios that, you know, because everybody was so happy that Bethesda Studios got more studios. How the fuck do you think that they got that? They had to negotiate, they had to make compromises in order for that to happen. If they didn't, then they would not have been able to expand, and most likely Todd's dream about Starfield and how epic it is, and his ambition for the rest of it, you know, for Elder Scrolls 6 and the future of the games would have never happened the way he wanted it to. So he had to do the song and dance, and he had to make compromises on what this game turns into. Okay? This game, everybody keeps saying it's a cash grab, and that's technically true. But so is every single thing that people in the business world come up with. Because it has to make money. It has to make money. Otherwise, people lose their jobs. And to get back to what I was saying about the early games. The most epic example that I reminded Jack of when he and I were talking about this. We weren't arguing about it, I was telling him about how frustrated I was with what I'm seeing online. For those of you who aren't old enough to have ever played the original NES when it came out, okay? There was this officially licensed video game for the movie E.T. it was completely unplayable. People use the phrase unplayable for this game. They have no proof, they have no concept of what that actually means. Okay? They're being prima donnas and overdramatic. The E.T. video game, the officially licensed dumpster fire that was given to people for the NES and sold a lot of copies. It sold a lot, okay? Because back in the day, they didn't have, you know, the internet to do word of mouth or, you know, spread the word. It was word of mouth and some video game magazines that weren't that popular and were actually losing money for the corporations that ran them for the most part in the beginning, like Nintendo Power. The game was actually unplayable. Even if you could get it to start up, okay? You couldn't do anything. And most of the time when you could go out and do something, it would glitch so bad. Oh my god, it was horrible. Okay? Now, admittedly, I never played that because back then I wasn't really in the gaming as I am now. I mean, I had an NES, but I played mainly Mario and Tetris and stuff like that. More casual gamer stuff. And people keep forgetting. People talk about pre-ordering and how we should stop pre-ordering, because if we don't pre-order, then the companies will learn their lesson and start, you know, dishing out, you know, good games that aren't bugged or whatever at launch. And I'm like, you guys are completely uninformed about the history of video games, about the true history of video games, not just what console came first and what game came first and what characters were introduced when. No, I'm talking about the quality of the games, how fast they come out, the manpower involved, the human error that is involved. You know, you live in this little world where everything is perfect and happy and rainbows, and I'm sorry, that's not life. But anyway, games have always been flawed. Okay, games used to have massive amounts of time between them, even back in the 8-bit, 16-bit era. Okay, there used to be sometimes 10 years or more between titles, unless it was something that was super duper popular that made a lot of money, and the studios were huge. Classic example is Final Fantasy, where they were churning them out like crazy, but that's because there was a big studio. Technology's moved so fast, y'all, that even even movie special effects companies are having trouble keeping up. Movie filming technology has moved so fast that things have struggled to keep up. Okay? And consumer demand has gotten so fucking elitist. If it doesn't look exactly this way, if it doesn't run exactly that way, if it doesn't have this hot new thing, then it's crap. I want people to start thinking about it like a new car. Okay? You don't go and just buy a new car. Most I should say most people. Let me clarify this. Most people don't just go out and buy a brand new car every, year, every 6 months, every. No, usually people will drive their car, if they buy it new or used, they will drive that car until it gets too expensive to keep up with taking care of it. They will run it into the ground. okay, and then get a new one. Basically what ZeniMax is trying to do with the creation engine, which used to be the cryo engine, cryotech, or whatever it was called. Again, I don't pay attention to that kind of stuff. I pay attention to the facts that people tell me, like the fact that the engine's so old and and I also listen to other people trying to explain to these people that just because the name hasn't changed doesn't mean that the engine hasn't been improved. And people are complaining about how Fallout 76 is using the creation engine and how the new games Starfield and the new Elder Scrolls 6 better not have that same engine, otherwise I'm not going to buy the game. Fine. If you want to judge something by the fact that they didn't rename it and make it all super fancy looking, fine. You don't have to buy the frickin' game. You're going to be, you know, sorely out of games to play, though. Because the Unreal Engine, even though its numbers have changed, all that they're doing is updating the same old engine. Adding new features, that's it. Same with a lot of the other engines that are out there. And even the ultimate new ones that I don't remember the names of because I don't keep track of the industry that closely, are based off of the older technologies. So it bugs me. It bugs me so hard, so bad, that people don't think about it. They're not logically thinking about it. And they're not looking at the definitions of the phrases and words that they use when describing things. Like unplayable. I'm playing it. Aren't I? Now, if it's not playable to you, then phrase it differently. Say I don't like it. Or it doesn't fit what I expected, so it's unplayable to me. To be more definitive. Because even if the numbers are true, because they talked about this thing recently where they might have accidentally leaked how many people are playing the game through this thing that Sony does. And there's like 500,000 people playing Fallout 76 according to these numbers or whatever. And that's, you know, that's sad considering there's like 15 million people still playing, you know, Grand Theft Auto Online. But you know, groups of gamers are different. I don't play GTA Online. I tried. I can't stand it.
Supply here, citizen.
People are so fucked up on there. I don't like griefing. You know, none of that. Jack and I killed another player yesterday, but we killed them because they were wanted. Not just because we were trying to be dicks.
Welcome, citizen. I am authorized to trade supplies.
Wow, this guy just like gifted me with awesomeness. That is so cool, that person. Okay, I have that one. Holy crap! That is awesome. I'm gonna put the other ones in back in here, and I'll do what he did later. I'll go and find somebody low level like me, and I'll give them to him to try to pass it forward. That is awesome. That's exactly the type of thing I'm talking about this game being awesome, and people not giving it enough credit. That person doesn't know me from the Pope, but he just gave me thousands and thousands of caps worth of schematics and hundreds of hours of scounging for them as well if he didn't pay for them outright. That's awesome. And he did it just because he wanted to be helpful and an awesome player. Jack and I do that with each other. We swap them around, and then we drop them where people can find them in our co-op game, or we save them for our other friend so that he can learn them, and then if he doesn't need them, then we have him drop them. But now that I've seen that, totally changing it. He probably cleared this place out recently, because there's usually a scorched right there. Anyway, I'll stop ranting at you guys and just let you guys watch me play. I just wanted to get my frustration out there because of the way things are being handled by the community and people. There's faults on both sides of what's going on, but it just really frustrates me that people are judging what's going on with such impatience and no real context of things that have actually happened in the community, and reasons why they might have done this or that. Because Todd's not gonna, if it was a corporate song and dance, Todd's not gonna tell people that. He's just gonna take the hits when they come, because it was ultimately his decision to make the corporations do what happened, so that he could get the resources he needed for the future to help make games awesome. And so yeah. Actually, guys, I have to leave and come back, which is going to be kind of a pain in the ass, because everything's going to come back, because I probably won't come to the same server that I am on currently. But the dog needs to go outside, and I need to eat something, because my stomach is yelling at me that I'm still hungry, even though I had a bowl of fruit and other things. I had a bowl of fruit and some avocado this morning, a few hours ago. Anyway, I'll talk at you in about an hour. That is, if I remember to stream again. If I don't, I apologize. Talk at you later.